Welcome to Drivers Talk Radio, hosted by automotive expert and championship-winning race car driver Rick Titus. Join Rick and his team for informative and entertaining discussions geared for automotive enthusiasts and consumers alike. Enjoy in-depth interviews with industry leaders and influencers. Now, originating from its studio headquarters in Las Vegas, it's time for Drivers Talk Radio and your host, Rick Titus.
And welcome to Drivers Talk. I'm Rick Titus, and we appreciate you being here. Now, AM/FM listeners, we appreciate the use of your door speakers. And if you've got one on the dashboard, we apologize now, because we've got about 11 pounds of show going in a 6-pound sack. It could get messy. That said, got the A-team in. I'm here, of course, Tracy Miller, producer and co-host of the program. How you doing, buddy?
Great. Everything's good. We got another exciting guest lined up for today, which I know you'll talk about.
Interesting. Yeah, we are excited about that. And we got some interesting news items, too. Of course, Spencer Crick in, who's now working the board, albeit still under the watchful eye for his last show with us. Micah Muzio paying very close attention to see which switches do what.
He's also known as Mentor Muzio.
Oh, ooh. Now, as a racing instructor, that'll be interesting. Now that he's going to be hanging with the Ferrari group, it's going to be interesting.
You mentioned something last week about tea and crumpets.
Yes.
Don't confuse that with crumpling it.
Yeah, no.
Crumpling, not a good thing on a Ferrari.
Yeah. They are Ferraris. They're not cheap. Having said that, there are places you can listen to this program that I thought I'd give the boss a little opportunity to talk about.
You bet. AM/FM listeners, you know where to find us because you're in your own vehicle, hopefully, or you've just, carjacked somebody and you might not know where the buttons are.
So in L.A., you're listening to us in a stolen car. Just pay attention to the setting on the radio.
Yeah, and if it has low jack, you're in trouble. They'll be behind you. Also, though, please go to us or go to our website, driverstalkradio.com. That's where our VOD audience can not only listen to the show, but watch us right here in our beautiful studio in fabulous Las Vegas. You can go on your smartphone to Stitcher.com and listen to us on that. And like you had said before, also in GM vehicles now, it's available there.
Yep.
iTunes, Mr. Bob Long, good long friend, at automotivenewsnetwork.com. You can find us there. Also on YouTube, that's where our vodcasts are actually seen at that point.
The video version of the show, yeah.
And behindthewheel.com.au, that's our buddy down in Australia, Joel Helms. Please don't forget to go to Facebook, Twitter. We'd like you to like us on Facebook. Then you can actually be a part of trying to win one of our books from, here goes a plug, Motor Books.
Motor Books, yeah.
Great company.
We're going to do our Drivers Talk book club, and we will be giving away today. This almost sounds like an oxymoron, but I've been through this book, and it does a pretty good job of how to build a cheap hot rod. We're doing our second how-to book, 2 weeks in a row. Very good. Lays out the chassis, lays out the body, shows you where the cheap kits are, and how you can actually put together a street rod pretty inexpensively. It's a relative term. Sort of like helicopter flying can be reasonably inexpensive.
Or fun.
It's the word
or dangerous.
Yeah, even Mike is choking on that. This word reasonable, where have you seen that before? Because it wasn't on helicopters.
And actually, this How to Build a Cheap Hot Rod relates to, if you go to our website at driverstalkradio.com, look under projects. We listed 3 that we're going to be kind of showcasing on there to give some ideas of what to do and what we're doing in our lives. Concept, lives, things outside of work.
It's a theory.
But I think this relates to what we're actually doing. And part of the How to Build a Cheap Hot Rod, in my opinion, the challenge is see how many parts you can scavenge and then be able to build a hot rod. You're going to keep the cost down. You don't have to go buy from a catalog at high dealer prices. But good points in there.
But the one catalog that I would endorse in a heartbeat is Speedway.
Oh, Speedy Bill is awesome.
Aren't they? They're a great company, great products, huge catalog. I just got their race catalog the other day. Boy,
oh, did you?
Oh, my word.
I keep getting emails from them that it's on its way, have a beer on us or something, or have a cold one on us.
Yeah, have a cold one when it gets there, because I'll tell you what, it's great reading. Great reading. Also coming up in this show, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and use the word revolutionary vehicle, because if this guy pulls this off, and by all appearances he's going to, this vehicle could have an impact in the marketplace.
In production, 2014, brand new plant down in Shreveport, Louisiana, which he took an abandoned plant and will put apparently about 1,500 people to work in that plant.
American story.
Exactly. So I'm hoping this goes well. I'm anxious to talk to Paul. We've seen his videos online, and seems to be a really good guy. Innovative.
Did he name the car specifically, or is he just calling it by the group name of the company.
You know, all that I know so far is the name is his last name. I haven't heard any key elements to it.
Does that mean anything?
No, that would be specs on that vehicle.
Oh, okay. So. Don't go by that. I thought it was the Elio.
Hopefully that's going to be Spec Racer.
Spec Racer. That'd be good.
I think that would be great.
Hey, a lot going on. We want to talk about some news. You know, with the big buzz. You can't walk by any magazine on the newsstand. By the way, I really thought Automobile Magazine blew it because they did an all black and white intro. The Automobile, did a black and white intro on the cover and even through their story on the new Corvette. Why would you present a car that exciting? And by the way, we've proven before these monotone covers don't sell. I'd have thought they'd have known that. Actually, I want to make sure no, it's Car and Driver. I apologize. Car and Driver put this monotone cover on there, monochromatic of the Corvette, and the whole article is in monochromatic. I think you missed the point, guys. But Corvette being talked about left, right, and center, the new coupe for 2014. Of course, they are talking about they're going to bring in I don't want to use the everyday man's Corvette, but they're going to bring in a lower cost version, which I thought was nothing but good news. It will not be introduced until the 15 model year, so it means at the end of the latter part of next year. They'll be bringing out a C7 that's going to be a little lesser expensive. I think that's nothing but good news. But no lesser expensive, sort of like reasonably expensive for Ferrari racing or helicopter flying. It's still probably going to be in the $65,000 club.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, but we have long said the Corvette fun to performance ratio against the dollar is one of the best in the world. What a great value that car is. And of course, Mustang, Challenger, and Camaro.
You know what that harkens back to when you say, a good deal on a vehicle for performance is if you wanted to, back in the day, own a Porsche to get a 914.
Yes.
They were poo-pooed. And a lot of people said nothing but Volkswagen, but what a fun car to drive.
Yep, still love them.
Yeah.
Still love them.
Well, you've had several. I had a couple.
Problem is they're getting a little long in the tooth.
Yes, they are.
And ironically enough, as arrogant as they are, the German cars are a little prone to the rust.
Yep.
Which is surprising.
You better know where to look.
Yes, before you buy one, you better know where to look.
Wait a minute. I owned one of those.
Yeah, a 914 that'll actually break in half if you don't know where to look. I had one that darn near did. Yep. You may remember that one.
Yes.
That said, a lot going on. Pretty busy in the industry overall. Nitto Tire US Inc. hits a 3 million fans on Facebook. Nitto.
No, Nitto.
Nitto.
We don't need them.
Hey, potato, tomato. 3 million fans for a tire?
I know. I was shocked when I saw that. Who's following that? Any idea, Micah?
Inmates.
Drifters desperate for sponsorship.
Wow.
Okay. Oh, drifters. Yes.
But
now those
3
cats
million.
but they only need 2 tires at a time.
And from what I understand, wasn't it that the second company ever to reach that kind of number?
It's a big number.
That's huge.
I just couldn't believe that a tire company would have that many followers. That's a surprising number.
It is.
Especially being only my third favorite tire company.
Oh, yeah, that's a shame. That's really, who are the other 2? Do you know 2 other tire companies? Go.
Wow,
I'm getting notes over here.
Yeah, Mike is trying to whisper in your ear.
A Badge Stone. Did I get it right?
Close. Yeah. That's
okay.
Right. That's right.
Here's a note. Do not send Spencer to get tires on your vehicle while you're at lunch.
That's right. Fire Year and Goodstone. There you go. Other than that, it was very, very close. Again, we talked about the fact that Alfa Romeo and Miata working together to build a new Miata or MX-5, depending what they want to call it this time. I wish they'd stick with the name Miata. Micah's going to be racing one of those this year. We look forward to getting direct reports. We want you to call in and give us reports on that.
Behind the wheel, no less.
Yeah, we want to know how that's going. In fact, we'll post some stuff if you would. Let's put some GoPro on our site. We got to get some shots of that.
We'll be videoing.
Oh, that's awesome. I'd love to do that. Yeah, I would imagine, given who your pal is. Did you know that windshield washer fluid will freeze because it doesn't have an antifreeze in it unless you buy a windshield washer fluid designed not to freeze in below freezing temperatures? I mention that because living here in Las Vegas, nobody had that. And when the temperatures went below freezing temperatures, and everyone couldn't figure out, my windshield washer's quit working. Well, it's because it's a cube of ice. Yep. Yes, it's isopropyl alcohol, and it will, in fact, be frozen. So just wanted you to know that. Just thought you should be aware of it. Did you know that buying a higher octane gasoline will, in fact, not improve your fuel economy one iota? Don't waste the money.
Unless your vehicle requires having the higher octane
then
fuel.
It's not a choice. Exactly. Then it's not a choice. And, of course, did you know that putting the tailgate down on your pickup truck not only doesn't help the mileage, it actually hurts it slightly. Turns out that a shade tree aerodynamicists are not who you want to listen to. So we're trying to share with you. And that's factory. We saw the factory wind tunnel results of testing up, down, and, of course, a bed cover is by far and away the best way to protect or get the most mileage out of it.
And that is not hearsay. That was proven by Driver's Talk with Mileage Maker a few years back.
And
that was the best way to actually gain mileage, was putting a bed cover on your truck.
Yep. And Jay said that with the introduction of new Tundra actually had built-in little vortices generators to help get the air back around the vehicle. That said, for AM/FM listeners, we're going to go to break right now. We'll be right back. Thanks for being with us.
And to our VOD audience, thanks for being with us. Hang tight 1 second. We're going to get our guest on the line, and we will have a very interesting call-in interview here.
We don't get many guys who are creating their own car company. And welcome back to Driver's Talk. I'm Rick Titus. Of course, Tracy Miller and Spencer Crick and Micah Muzio for his farewell song here at Driver's Talk, on his way to become a Ferrari racing instructor. What a bummer, huh? I checked my sympathy meter twice this morning before coming into the studio, and I couldn't find anybody. Sorry, pal. It didn't even budget. So having said that, we mentioned a few weeks ago as a news item about a new car company. We don't get to say that very often. A lot of people don't have the courage to try and do that kind of thing. But this one got our attention because it's not $150,000. In fact, $150,000 probably make you a dealer in this thing. But this could be exciting. This could be a breakthrough thing. Now, here's what we love. This is a three-wheel vehicle. That has a lot of advantages. It is done the way us engineering types refer to as the best triangle for a platform, i.e. two wheels in the front, one wheel in the rear. That's the best way to do a three-way vehicle. For those of you who see it the other way around, avoid, and avoid.
Like the plague.
Yeah, not a good thing. And we love the industrial enterprise that this gentleman is taking on. So if you want to talk about that a little bit, Tracy, let's go for it.
I will. What I would suggest is go to your website, or go to their website on your computer, which is Elio Motors, ELIO Motors.com. What you will see is a very bright green three-wheeler, and we have the president, the designer, the developer of that product on the phone with us, and that is Mr. Paul Elio himself. How are you, Paul?
I'm doing very well today, thanks.
Awesome. Hey, thanks for being with us. We appreciate it. I will tell you, from the moment we saw this, we became fans. And I think the fact of anybody that travels the highways like we do on a regular basis would be thrilled to see one of these going down the road, especially if we were behind the wheel.
I was going to say, I'm hoping it's going to be us in it pretty soon.
But, hey, kudos to you. What made you decide to do this, and how did it come about?
Well, I'd thought about doing a three-wheel vehicle for a long time. And it was August of 2008, and oil prices were going through the roof, and I was just getting pissed off watching the news every night, seeing all this wealth pour out of our country. And my ex-wife said, you ought to stop watching the news, Paul. It just makes you mad. And I went and took a walk after that comment, and I thought about it, and I thought, instead of getting mad, I'm going to go do something about it. And I went into work the next day, and I kicked the project off.
Well, if you did it in one day, wow, not a bad deal. You've come up with something that we said is very evolutionary, or revolutionary, I should say, in the sense that you have taken three-wheelers to a different concept. There are others out there, one being the Rex, the other the Spider, more motorcycle type, but they have virtually no cockpit. They're open to the elements. Yours is not. I think that's a very big advantage for you.
Well, and we're front-engine, front-wheel drive, so it has certainly more in common with a car than a motorcycle from a driving perspective. It's a steering wheel, front-engine, front-wheel drive with 3 airbags, 2 seat belts, an air conditioner, power windows, power door locks. So it's technically a motorcycle, but it certainly has a lot of features similar to a car.
Well, and I think that might be a little confusing when people heard 2 seat belts. When you first look at this, it looks like a solo-type vehicle, and it's actually a two-place, one in front of the other.
Yes, and that's one thing, the first comment I always get when people have seen a lot of pictures of the vehicle and then they see it live is like, wow, it's much bigger than I expected. It has a longer wheelbase than a Honda Accord, and it's about the same overall size as a BMW 330 from a side view.
Wow. Well,
but it's half width, right? We see 2 occupants front to back instead of side by side. And that is the secret to the gas mileage. At highway speeds, most of your fuel goes to moving air. We're half as wide, we move half as much air, so we get double the mileage.
Well, I'm familiar with this tandem seating. I own an airplane called a Very Easy, and as you probably know, Paul, the pilot sits in front of the passenger, and that's an airplane that goes very rapidly, 160 knots, on a very small engine, on a Continental 100, so 200, excuse me. So we understand the aerodynamic advantages of this, but that does come off larger. Since we've not seen this in person, it does come off larger than I expected.
Paul, if we could, let's get into some of the stats or the specs on this vehicle. Okay, what you're quoting is, and I'm just going to read off a couple of them here, 84 miles per gallon. That's highway, and I believe it was like 49 in city, if I'm not mistaken. And that's on an 8-gallon tank, which will take you, if you do the math, 672 miles on a tank of fuel. That's almost unheard of nowadays.
Yep, and that is correct. And so our drivetrain partner, who we will announce soon, they are comfortable with those numbers.
Wow, very good. I think the thing that hit us even more so was the fact that you're creating American jobs. You ended up getting a facility down in Shreveport, Louisiana that was sitting abandoned, and you're going to be putting those Americans to work down there. I think that's an awesome deal.
And that's my other passion, is creating American jobs and making something that we can eventually export. This will have 95% North American content. So it's an American company building an American car with American parts in Shreveport, Louisiana.
Paul, how hard has it been to bring that idled assembly plant back to speed for you?
Well, we really haven't begun the retrofit yet, but GM was building vehicles there last August. So there's not even dust on the equipment yet. So everything is there in good working order. And we are going to start moving stuff around, but everything you can possibly need to do what we're going to do is pretty much there. It's just where do you move it to?
At this juncture, where do you stand on development of the prototypes and whatnot?
We are in the process of building Mule 3 and kicking off the 18 development prototypes. So we're going to do 2 rounds of prototypes for validation, and we're in the process of kicking those off.
Excellent.
Hey,
Excellent.
Paul, I know you said safety-wise you're expecting a 5-star rating. Do you have to crash test these like cars?
No, but we will. So because we're a motorcycle, we don't have to do very much, but we are striving to meet all 4-wheel standards, and I believe we will. There's some where you can't meet, like headlight brightness. If you have bright enough so you're legal as a motorcycle, you violate the auto standard. You're too bright for an auto. So there's a couple where you can't do it, but everywhere we can, we are. On the crash testing, we did all the simulation work with our folks. When we were comfortable with it, we gave it to our safety system supplier, which is the second largest safety system supplier in the world. They reran the simulations at their facility, and based on that interaction, we have a letter from them saying they believe it will be 5-star in all directions.
Good stuff. I got to ask you, Paul. People buy this thing, and I hate to pile on you here, but where are they going to get it serviced, buddy?
Well, we're going to roll out the business model probably 4 or 5 months. So this first 3 months from the press of the news conference on that we took over Shreveport is about the product. Then we're going to have a big press conference here in 6 to 10 weeks where we'll introduce you to the supply base. And it truly is a who's who of the North American supply base, and we're going to focus on that for about 90 days.
Great.
And then we're going to roll out how the business model is going to work, distribution, service, and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, drum roll, please. If you would, why don't you tell everybody how much this vehicle is anticipated costing them?
The sticker price will be $6,800.
Wait, can you repeat that one more time, please?
Yes, $6,800.
That's the part I think that when we finally realized you were serious about this, it's like, how can you do that for $6,800? This is going to be kind of like going out and buying a TV. Anybody's going to be able to afford this.
And by the way, that is not a fluffed up number. We have 85% of the content sourced and quoted by the incumbent supply base, and we are on target to achieve that.
Wow. It's just amazing because there are motorcycles out there that cost twice that much. It just blows me away.
There's really 3 sources to the value. One is the architecture. It's clever, and that saves us some money. 2 is how we deal with the supply base. We're doing it differently. The vehicle's been designed through a series of what we call supplier summits. So Elio Motors gets together with all the suppliers, and we work on the vehicle for 3 days, and we do that every 4 weeks. And as common sense as that may sound, it's never happened before. These suppliers are never allowed to talk to each other. So normally if there's an issue with how the airbag is mounting the frame, the airbag supplier tells the OEM. He then goes and talks to the frame guy. The frame guy gives him 5 possible solutions. He goes back to the airbag guy, says, which one of these do you like? And it's this ping-pong ball of inefficiency. what we do is we all get in a room and we hammer it out. And sometimes the answer is airbag guy, charge me $2 more for your product because I can save $5 on the frame if we go this way. So we optimize on the vehicle level rather than the component level. And at the end of the day, that's what our customers care about, is what does the vehicle cost, not what does the airbag cost.
Wow.
Where can people learn more? That's me.
If you want to learn more about Elio Motors, go to eliomotors.com. Paul, we are very excited about this. We're looking forward to the fact that these are going to be coming out in 14. We'd like to stay in touch with you, and when some of these mules are ready to go, we would love to be there camera in hand and do some more on this vehicle and get you up on our website with it.
Absolutely. We would like to do that as well.
Awesome.
Paul, we wish you all the luck in the world. We think this is awesome. We have been around this business a long time. We respect how deep and big an endeavor this is. And hopefully next year you'll be sleeping better. So Godspeed, my dear friend. We're certainly hoping this works because we're excited about the prospects.
Thank you.
All right, pal. You be safe. Well, there you have it, folks. We're going to go to break right now on the AM/FM side. We appreciate you taking the time to listen to us. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Driver's Talk. Rick Titus, Tracy Miller, and Spencer Crick in studio. And it's kind of a goodbye episode for us. Of course, it's Spencer's birthday. He turns 30 and leaving the studio and the immediate ranks of the team, though we certainly hope to hear from him at other levels. And that, of course, is Mike Amusio, who's been with us the better part of 10 years anyway. Maybe 12.
Longer.
Yeah.
You kind of started with us back in Bakersfield.
That's right.
Yeah. Maybe 2002.
It was a work release thing. We signed for him.
You know what? And he stayed out of trouble. I give him credit.
Well, for the most part.
Well, except for that one incident. But, you know.
Yeah. Hey, I saw her.
I know we're not supposed to talk about it.
Okay, that's it. No. Hey, listen, if you go to our website, by the way, please take the time to do that and like us. Beyond that, we've got different news, different tips, different projects we got going on, things of that nature. We've also got our merchandising side, and gosh darn it, some of that stuff's kind of cool. That's from Cafe Press, and I like the stuff.
And a wide variety. I mean, everywhere from T-shirts to hats to pajamas. And let's see, if you're a race fan and you want to go to the race and they don't let anything like coolers through, there are flasks with Driver's Talk on the side.
Yeah,
you can sneak it in one way or the other.
Yeah, a lot of cool stuff. So definitely worth doing. A little later in the show, we are going to do the Driver's Talk Book Club, brought to you by Motor Books, and we will be giving away How to Build a Cheap Hot Rod. And I realize that sounds like an oxymoron, but it can be done pretty practically. And as you put it out earlier, if you are in fact a bit of a picker or a scavenger by nature, you could in fact do one pretty darn cheaply.
Why did you look at me when you said that?
Well, because if the shoe fits, you should put them both on, and the backpack and the jacket. Yep. So I'd highly recommend. Of course, things that I wanted to share with you with regard to Did You Know? Because I always like to keep you abreast of that. Did you know that Larry Patrick is considered the father of crash studies? Now, I know there's a lot of people, and of course the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety wants to take all the credit, but a professor of biomechanics at Wayne State, Michigan, Larry Patrick, is considered the father of crash studies. He's been looking at kinetic energy pass, load pathing, and where the car can self-sacrifice to help take impact mapping and do more. Now, Ralph Nader pretends to be. Ralph Nader was an ambulance chaser, in my opinion. Killed a perfectly good car that really would have been good for the American car buyer, but nope, he had to figure out a way to kill it. So, but for those of you who resisted the wear a seatbelts thing, and of course those of you who don't believe that texting or talking on your phone is dangerous while driving in a car, here's something you should know. Wayne State University determined that our bodies were built for an 8-mile-an-hour speed. Our bodies are designed to go 8 miles an hour maximum speed, so that when you hit something at 38.5 miles an hour, you weigh 3,015 pounds.
Well, let's see, 8 miles an hour, and let's go back.
38.5 will make you weigh.
No, I'm talking about we were built for an 8-mile-an-hour crash.
Miles an hour, right.
And if you go back to prior to vehicles, that would be in another era of my life, and that is horses. I've fallen off of a horse at over 8 miles an hour.
Yep.
It hurts.
It hurts.
Yeah. So we weren't even built for that as far as I'm concerned.
It's funny. I've crashed race cars going a pretty good clip, and even with all the safety gear on, that was the biggest surprise. I was like, Ow.
Yeah. It's not been
It's
there,
like
done
you
that.
were tackled by like a professional football player. Like, ouch.
You know, all the safety features are there for reasons in vehicles nowadays. People want to poo-poo those. Don't. They're there to save your life, and they do.
No. Of course, what I found really interesting, you know, the big talk now is that Infiniti is looking at going with steer-by-wire. Now, the reason we would go to this kind of technology and why it's being looked at for throttle-by-wire and brake-by-wire is weight reduction. People are looking for ways to get the weight out of the vehicles. What I found most interesting is we're looking at the development of autonomous cars, wherein the engineer's saying the driver's the biggest problem of an autonomous car. Well, how does that work? If the driver's not going to have a role in driving the car, how is he the biggest problem, he or she the biggest problem in developing an autonomous car? I don't know what to tell you.
I think even in today's car, the driver is mostly the problem.
Well,
they
definitely that, but
they have way too much input.
Yeah, they're not autonomous. Well, what I found interesting is on the Infiniti, the steer-by-wire is going to be an option. An option, really. You think people are going to check that box?
Well, especially going down the assembly line. What if they mess up and they don't put either in?
And then here's the other thing that really kind of did me in on the whole notion. 96 different steering feels can be dialed in on the steering on steer-by-wire. Really? That's like having 120 different light colors you can have for your footwell in your cars, which Ford Motor Company makes available to you. Not dead sure I'm a big fan of the whole notion. So,
hey, let me throw this one out there. This happened a while back, but I've had this in my archives here, and I wanted to share it. Everybody's gotten used to using GPS while they're driving, or at least a majority of people. If you don't have a GPS unit in your vehicle, most smartphones have those on now. I use it on my phone on a regular basis. A lady from...
I was shocked to learn that is not... I thought GPS was a reference to your mother-in-law because she's always in the back giving you directions.
No, I had other words for her, and it wasn't GPS three letters. There were four-letter words that went into that.
I got a friend that can make some pretty good words out of those. But having said that, it turns out it is something electronic. It's in your dashboard, and it'll actually tell you as well as show you how to get there.
This lady apparently didn't pay much attention to it. She was on her way from Belgium to pick up her friend in the Brussels train station.
I saw this piece. Yeah.
She was supposed to go 90 miles.
Yeah.
2 days later, 2 rest stops, sleeping over, and 900 miles, she ended up in Croatia. If you know you're only supposed to go 90 miles and it's taking you 2 days to get there, 3 days or 3 meals in each of those days, and a lot of fuel, wouldn't you think something was up?
Well, I don't know if you knew this. Little known side of the story, I did my research. Turns out she's the sister of the lady who thought while driving her motorhome, the cruise control meant you could get up and go make a sandwich. So you can see the gene pool there is not particularly deep. In fact, you can't even splash yourself in it. Not good. Not good. I read that. I'm like, really? 2 days, lady? Could you put that together?
I mean, that takes a lot of doing to go
Two scary
beyond.
thoughts. That woman's got a license and she probably votes.
Yeah.
Other than that,
Not
don't
bad.
be nervous.
Hey,
Don't be
also, Peugeot Citroën coming out with a vehicle, a hybrid, going to be powered by air.
Yeah. And as ridiculous as that sounds, it's going to work.
It will.
It will work.
They've proven it already, but they're hoping that they're going to have these in Europe by 2016. They say it's going to be cutting gas costs by as much as 80%. And over in Europe, gas fuel is a lot more expensive than it here in the
Now, what
United
we're talking
States.
about is a small gasoline engine producing, or it could be a small diesel, in all fairness, producing, driving a compressor, producing compressed air. Now, people poo-pooed the pneumatic tire when it first came out. Remember, tires were solid rubber in the beginning, and people thought, pneumatic, why would you do that?
Can I poo-poo? That Peugeot is going to name that vehicle the poo-poo.
Well, then that will not be necessarily a clever marketing move, but I guess it's a thought. This may well work. Now, there's been a number of things that have been talked about. This compressed air being one. Flywheel was discussed a lot. The notion that while you slept at night, an electric motor would spin a weighty flywheel based on the bottom of your car up to, I don't know, 120,000 RPM. Then you'd come out in the morning, unplug the car, and you would use the kinetic energy off of that flywheel to drive the vehicle. Well, that idea kind of came, kind of went. It has started to rear its head again.
Funny.
I think that'd be kind of interesting. The only problem is that when you think of flywheel, think gyro. I wonder how I'll bet the thing turns left wicked good. But it might resist right-hand turns.
Map out your course carefully.
Oh, yeah. No, the GPS will be really important.
This is going to be great for NASCAR guys. Go left,
NASCAR
go left,
guys
go
will
left.
Be running flywheel. Be running flywheel. By the way, very exciting to see the new cars. They look more like the actual cars you buy.
The NASCARs you're speaking of.
Yeah, the NASCARs. Looking, the new rules mandate that they look like the vehicles they sell. I like it.
I do too. I wish they'd take the restrictor plates off, get back to real side-by-side racing instead of choo-choo train.
car pieces into the crowd at 200. I want you to think about taking those restrictor plates off, because now we're talking about putting the whole cars into the crowd at 230. These are nearly 1,000 horsepower cars on push rods, I might add.
It's just I have a real problem though with seeing cars going around the course in a choo-choo train fashion.
But and by the way, Danica Patrick did a heck of a job at the Daytona 500. I have not given credit easily to her. Getting into NASCAR is tricky enough. Gosh darn it, she did a good job. She put the car in the front row, actually on the pole, and then, quite frankly, ran on the top 10 all day. Even led, green flag left.
No, kudos to
her.
Pit
stops seem to be her downfall. I don't know why that car would not get going. I don't know what gear ratio they had in it. Something was not right. And she got kind of lost a lot of spots with every pit stop, and it wasn't a function of the crew. It was a function of how that car got rolling. I don't know if she wasn't frying the tires hard enough to get the thing gone, but she would lose 3, 4, 5, 6 spots on some pit stops during the 500. Now, she'd get them back, but that was sort of sad. I have to say, I haven't been rooting for her in the past. Gosh darn it, she did a good job.
And I think a lot of that she brought on herself. We didn't like a lot of the attitude of crybaby pounding and stomping her feet, but she seems to have gotten out of that a little bit. I think she's been a lot more professional.
Maybe it's a new boyfriend, huh? Maybe it's a new boyfriend.
Well, it sure couldn't hurt.
We couldn't do that. Hey, AM/FM listeners, we're going to go to break right now. We truly do appreciate being with us, and certainly invite you to go to your computers, go to driverstalkradio.com, and actually watch the show on your computer screen. We appreciate it. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Drivers Talk. I'm Rick Titus. Tracy Miller is, if you're watching us on VOD, to my immediate right, and Spencer Crick behind all those switches and knobs over there. I don't know if they're real or a placebo. He probably just presses a button on automatic. Micah fooled us for the better part of 10, 12 years with that, but what looks like a pretty busy spot. How you doing over there, buddy?
Good. I learned really well from Micah to just act like I know what I'm doing.
Micah faked it for the first 3 years.
This show might not ever make it to the internet here. We'll see.
Might not happen.
Wow.
You know, when we added cameras, we asked Micah, who at that point was flying helicopters. We added cameras, and he goes, "I will say it has added to the tension a mite to be switching cameras back and forth at the same time as controlling all the other mediums that are associated with that soundboard, which I've been told would be really good for like a rock band. Might be a click overkill for a small radio show, but
I think we're going there midweek. We're going to bring in the rock bands and do that right here in studio.
There you go. You know, there is some rumor that we might go to 2 shows a week, so hang in there. We're talking about Wacky Wednesdays. We may just be doing that. So having said that, this is the portion wherein we do, in fact, give away a book. This is the Driver's Clock Book Club, and we are brought to you by Motorbooks, and motorbooks.com. You want to go there. If you like anything automotive, from how to weld to how to shape metal to how to build an engine by brand, to build a street rod, to build a custom, to collector cars, racing history, Formula One, NASCAR, I got to tell you, if they don't have it, you probably don't need to be reading about it.
Well, and we are fans of books in general, especially from motor books, but the fact that these are available for gifts also, that's always nice to be able to give to somebody. So if they happen to be a specific, make or mark of a vehicle.
Yeah, let's say you like Edsels or something. You can get a book on Edsels or AMC Pacers.
But if you have somebody that's just kind of a fan and they don't have a mark to go to, there's a lot of things like this. How-to books, generic, like we just said, Preston Lerner and Matt Stone's book that we gave away a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
Good stuff. So make sure you go to their site.
Hey, good authors. They really do a good job. You know, I got to get in one dig here before I ask the trivia quiz for the book. Micah's a big Honda S2000 fan, and S2000s are almost a private cult now. The reason you don't want to buy one used is I think 90% of them are going to be used on track days, and just get the snot whooped out of them. So I would approach an S2000 in the used car market very cautiously.
I saw leaving the studio not too long ago as I was heading down Sahara I couldn't figure out what it was in front of me, and as I got up closer, it finally is like, wow, that's an S2000, but it had a hard top on it that came back into a bullet shape. Oh my God, was that classy looking.
Very reminiscent of the Lister Tiger for Le Mans, for the Le Mans cars. Having said that, all right, as we've mentioned up front, Motorbooks is our sponsor. We give away a book every week as part of our book club. This week it is How to Build a Cheap Hot Rod. This is really well illustrated. It gives you a real good sense of what's involved, whether you buy a kit from, like, let's say, Speedway Motors, and or if you decide you want to knock it out yourself by going to junking yards and bringing pieces home and sticking them together. This book does a good job, because there are a couple of things you probably ought to consider in assembling a car. It's not a matter of sticking front to back.
Well, not only that, but I think they give you options also. You know, it's not like you have to go this route. And
No.
That's what hot rodding is all about. You know, being individual, making sure that it's the vehicle you want when you're done. And this is just kind of a guideline for it.
Okay, but having said that, you got to get past our quiz.
Okay.
And we try to make these fairly tricky. To give you an idea, according to the Department of Transportation data, what % of annual vehicle collisions occur in shopping mall parking lots? This would include grocery stores as well. I'll repeat the question. According to the Department of Transportation data, what % of annual vehicle collisions occur in shopping mall or grocery store parking lots? This figure may have you paying a bit more attention. When you think the collective 20,000 crashes a day, 20,000 car crashes a day, is it A, 1%? Is it B, a half of 1%? Or C, 10% of that 20,000 crashes a day? How many car collisions by % of total crashes occur in shopping mall parking lots?
And I bet you that number is more than what we actually know, because of the people that crash into other cars in parking lots and run.
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of like people who pull out the gas pump nozzles and keep driving.
No, that happens?
It happens. Spencer, have you ever heard of that?
I've personally seen it a few times.
Wow, is that in your vehicle?
And they,
Yeah.
no, not this time. But they just bullet right out of there as fast as they can. There's really nowhere to run, and you don't want to be on the highway too long because everybody's pointing. And
It's just embarrassing.
I imagine there's a dumpster very close to those gas stations where said pumps
nozzles?
can be found.
Filled with nozzles.
You know, I can remember some years back seeing the very first photo on the internet with that, and it was like big humor story that somebody actually left with a gas pump. Now it's a common occurrence. I don't know how people are that distracted, other than the fact I see a lot of people at fueling stations now. They put the nozzle in and they go sit in their car while they're fueling up.
Yep.
For two things. One, you're going to pull the nozzle out when you drive away. Number two, the static electricity when you're getting in and out of the vehicle is not good while you're filling up at a gas station.
Well, they also warn you shouldn't use your cell phone while standing at a pump. Have you guys enforced that at all?
It's impossible to be out there all the time.
Right.
And I mean, if you spend any time, because there's literally a propane tank area right outside the door, and people are smoking by that all the time. And you know, some of those people, you just can't save them all.
No. Nor are you meant to.
They'll clean up the gene pool. I just don't want to be near that station.
Before we get into other things, just want to put a plug in for Las Vegas. We came here about 5 months ago, started doing the show here, and we have been blown away at how many automotive things there are to do in this city. There is so much going on between car clubs and driving schools and track events and off-road events and desert racing events. There are so many things that you can get involved here automotively. Kind of thought it was going to be kind of a dry spell to come here. Not the case.
It was funny. I mentioned that to somebody recently that was in this automotive field, and they went, "Really? There's more car stuff here?" In pun. I came in a different direction yesterday, and I saw something new and unique that I didn't know about, so I'm going to do a follow-up on that and see what we can do with it. Okay. But there's a lot of automotive here.
It really is.
We've experienced a lot, but there's still a lot to discover.
That's good stuff. Hey, and on our blog and on our website, we're going to get into the topic of passing semis. We use 15 a lot to come out of Las Vegas going into Southern California, and I'm amazed, particularly where it gets a little bit curvy, I'm amazed how slow people are to go around a semi-rig like they're with trepidation. If you knew what was going on aerodynamically, the pressure value changes, how at one point your car is being pushed off of the semi, and very quickly after that it's pulled back into the semi, and you didn't touch the steering wheel during that event. There are things we're going to explain to you in terms of how to deal with that 80,000-pound, 40-ton vehicle going down the road to make it safer for you, safer for them. And there have been some aerodynamic changes to tractor-trailer rigs that actually affect that outcome to a very large degree. So largely to the better, but we'll explain that to you.
Also, in our tips and advice, I want to put this out there to people. A lot of people are not aware of the fact that if there is a breakdown or an emergency vehicle or a tow truck on the right-hand side, legally, in most states now, you are supposed to change lanes and move away from that
And if that's a police officer, you really ought to be making that change.
And I'm shocked at how many people stay in that lane, even though they're pulled off to the side and they're right up against that emergency lane.
Yeah, that's you're pushing your luck on that deal, dudes. You're pushing that luck. And it is a law. It is a law. So, and boy, Las Vegas has become very intolerant of people on cell phones. You come into this town and you're on 15, man, the minute you get to Prim,
the signs are lit up.
I'd behave.
Zero tolerance.
And there's zero tolerance. They're writing tickets.
And I saw a lot of that last night when I came in. Yeah,
I got to tell you, the earlier you drive to this town, the better.
Well, in and out. If you're going back into California, which I do occasionally, you don't want to leave late on a Sunday. Otherwise, that what could be 4-hour trip or average for me can turn into 6 or 7 hours.
Well, Mike is not mic'd. You got out of here what time last Sunday? Noonish, and it was already must have been a mess.
Like stop and go.
Stop and go. What time did you get back to Long Beach if you left here at noon?
What was it, like maybe 6 something?
Ouch.
Wow.
Yeah, that adds
a lot of
an hour and a
extra
half to your drive. Hour and a half to your drive. Interesting. Well, and so it goes. A lot going on. We appreciate your patience as we continue to develop this format. We are going to get this show more polished. Our website's getting deeper all the time. We appreciate your comments. Info@Drivers Talk Radio. We will answer your questions and or respond to your input. We've had a few people say, look, we like the old format, and the old format was a lot of fun, but as we become more professional as a show, we're starting to get more visibility. Frankly, there are some things we got to do to kind of tighten the act up. For those of you who watch us frequently going, really, that'll be fun to watch. But we're making an effort to become even more professional. We want to deliver useful consumer information. We want you to leave this show every week going, wow, I did not know that, but I'm sure glad to know it right now.
And that's where we want input. So if you would, please go to our Facebook at Drivers Talk Radio. Also, tweet us. We'd like to hear what you have to say, what you have as far as comments. We do respond to those. So your input is important.
And I'm still learning how to say anything in 140 characters. It just doesn't seem right to me. And then some of you respond back, and I'm like, what did they say? Having said that, this is Drivers Talk. We truly appreciate you being with us. We wish you open roads and safe motoring. Take care.
And to our VOD audience, we appreciate you being with us. We will see you back here next week. We've got some more information we're going to be bringing you. We also have coming up, Yokohama Tire will be with us here shortly. We also have, if you watch TV, Danny Coker, who you might know by his TV show called Counting Cars. Danny's going to be with us in studio. He has Counts Customs, and what a good guy.
And very interesting cat.
Yep, and just recently, not too long ago, a couple weeks back, ate at his cafe bar that he has up here, Cafe and Grill. Very good place. You need to stop in. It's called Vamped, VAMPD, and we'd love to have you sneak in and visit him and be able to talk to all the people involved in his organization. Very good people.
We're looking forward to it. Looking forward to it.
All right, so for our VOD audience, we appreciate you being with us. Wishing you open roads and safe motoring. We'll see you next week. Thank you.
Take care.